Hello guys, this video was born from a 3 a.m. idea I had while lying in bed with a fever. I was half-conscious, feverish, and thought, what if I ranked superpowers based on how realistic they are in real life? So here we are, in the middle of the night, editing this video. Let's jump into it. First on the list is flying. It sounds awesome to think about, but in a real-life scenario, it would be brutal. For starters, high altitudes would mean freezing to death. Some of you might say, just wear a coat. But even if you had one, there's a bigger problem: the lack of oxygen. You'd basically be driving while drugged. Great for a few moments, but not sustainable.
Get out the way, get out the way, move. Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way, move. Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way. Oh no, the fight's out. I'm about to put your lights out.
And if you fly lower to avoid that, you'd need to go super slow to avoid eating bugs or getting blasted by wind resistance. In the end, flying is fun in theory, but mostly impractical in real life. C tier. Next on the list is invisibility. Sounds fun, right? And I'm sure most of the male population already has 100 ways to use it.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
But aside from those freaks, how would your body actually handle being invisible to light? You'd probably go blind because light wouldn't be able to reach your eyes. Plus, you'd still have to dodge cars, people, and other obstacles, but hey, now you're super blind while trying to navigate the world. Not exactly my top pick for a superpower, F tier. Then we have teleportation. It might seem like a useful power. Imagine getting to work on time, saving $50 on gas. But there's obviously a downside. First off, intrusive thoughts. Knowing me, I'd probably teleport straight into a wall on my first try.
What the?
You'd have to be super precise with your destination, and even then, there's the risk of ending up stuck somewhere you don't want to be. Not as practical as it sounds. C tier. Next up, SuperSpeed. We need to think about the consequences. Moving at that kind of velocity? You'd be tearing through the air, generating a ton of friction and heat. Not to mention the mental strain of processing everything at lightning speed. It'd be overwhelming. That said, you could still use it to win races and maybe break world records, so it's not all bad. Still, not the most practical. B tier. Now we're getting somewhere with SuperStrength. I know some of you might think about using it for robbing banks, while the smarter ones might go for powerlifting. But I have a vision. The greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time. One hit, and your opponents are done. Forget technique when you have raw power. It's more doable than most powers on this list, so I'm giving it a solid A tier. Next up, Telekinesis. It's a fan favorite, and honestly, it's not too far-fetched. It could be explained by controlling energy or magnetism, but the mental strain would likely be huge. Moving heavy objects would probably take as much effort as lifting them physically. And coming from a generation that consumes reels like air, I'd barely stay focused for 3 seconds before I need a dopamine hit. So yeah, definitely impractical for me, B tier. So the next power we need to talk about is healing powers, which are actually pretty realistic. It's like accelerated cell regeneration. Some people might use it to become a great doctor, but as super strength power, I've got a better vision. The deadliest hitman on the planet. Accelerated healing could just increase the risk of things like cancer, but all you'd need is a quick touch to take someone out. Easy money. For that, I'm putting it in B tier. Now we've got SuperIntelligence, and honestly, it's one of the best powers on this list. Just imagine, you'd be a total genius, capable of doing anything. You could even free Diddy from prison or make the Hawk Tuah girl actually interesting.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh,
that
you
do?
gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
I don't get you.
The only downside is that everyone else would seem pretty stupid in comparison. But if you've got an ego like mine, that's already the case. So yeah, this power is an easy S tier. Well, that's my tier list for how superpowers would work in a real-life scenario. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, I'll do a part 2. but only if I ever get another fever. Stay tuned.